And hello to all my friends. I'd like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and today I'll be doing your Quadrants video for 2023, the much-awaited Quadrants video. So what is a quadrant and how does it apply to you? Well, each sign is getting your own video, your own divination. I've done all the heavy lifting and all the reading stuff ahead of time, so you'll notice I don't even have a tarot card on this table. That's all been done. We're just going to go over your notes here. So what is a quadrant? A quadrant is a quarter of a circle. So if we look at your year, like the full encompassing circle, we're going to take a piece of the pie out of that and break it down one quarter at a time. Each quadrant is going to represent 3 months of your year. The first quadrant is going to be January, February, March. The second quadrant will be April, May, June. The third will be July, August, September, and the fourth, of course, October, November, December. Now, of course, if you're great at taking notes, you only have to kind of watch this video once. You take some awesome notes that you can refer back to. For everybody else, this video will be up permanently. It's not going anywhere. So you can come back to reflect on your quadrants as they happen. I think it's best to check out your quadrant right before the new one starts so you can reflect back on the one that just passed and also get your new information for the one that you're about to live so you can remember and kind of refresh. So either way you're going to do that will be just fine. And let's go over a couple important other things here. Of course, this is the only time of year that I do quadrants it's basically because I go out a whole year. And the further out you go and the further out you look in divination, the fuzzier it gets. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory to everybody. Most people understand that. And for that reason, I usually don't divine out this far. I don't extrapolate out for 12 months. Usually I do like 6 at the most. So this is the only time of year that I do that, first of all. And divination forecasting here is an outline. So this is not the specifics of your entire year, but it presents an outline that you can plan and prepare very important things too. So for example, like we're going to look at things like vacation amongst 10 other topics here. So what is the best quadrant for you to take a vacation in? Spirit's going to figure this out by your sign and give you a couple bingos here, a couple little peaks or little marks here, little check marks on the map of when this would be the best time for you guys, for your sign to do that. Of course, this is a general reading and we have a lot of bubble energy tuning in to your sign, and that muddles it up a little bit. So that's why you really need a personal at the end of the day. And quadrants for the first time is being offered as a personal product, an audio product, so that way you have a keepsake and something to refer back to as well. But it's all about you and that. So what else are we going to talk about here? First of all, it's going to be generally a positive reading. The reason I do that, I don't do all just positive readings. Some people do that. I don't. I kind of give you the whole thing. But to keep this kind of short and concise, we cannot talk about every single thing that is going to happen in your year. And both, whether we talk about good or bad things, they're both good for planning and preparation, because the bad things you would just try to avoid and the good things you would just go and move towards. Because at the end of the day, they're both functional. They both get the job done, but one is much better well received than the other. Much people would gravitate toward the positive, and hey, if it was a reading that was all about negativity, nobody wants to hear that. And then there would be those people that would be like scared of certain events, and that just doesn't help. That only kind of brings it in more. It attracts it more. So we don't want any of that stuff. So this is going to be a relatively positive reading, long story short. Okay, so without further ado, now that you understand the ground rules, let's get moving with planning and preparing for your year. Okay, Sagittarius, here we go with your Quadrants 2023. Like I said earlier, no cards on the table here. Didn't even take them out of the case because I've done all the card work. The card work has been done. It's not like I'm just guessing this stuff. It has already been done. I took good quality notes here. Basically, that's going to save us about 3 times the length that if we were kind of flipping cards and talking about it. So let's get moving with your quadrants, guys. The big theme of Quadrant 1, which is going to be January, February, and March, is joy. It's the second best card in the tarot deck. It's that Disneyland, Disney World energy, that good family vibe, good heart health here going on. And there is, despite all the good stuff, because it is the second best card in the deck, that 10 of Cups is what that represents, there is something in there that's just kind of throwing the whole thing. It's making it a little bit down a notch, where it should feel a little bit better than it does these first 3 months for my Saggies. So what is that? I call that a booger bear. It's like there's something in the way. It's usually probably something very specific for different Sagittariuses here. You guys are each doing different things here, so it's going to hit everybody a little different. But there's something in the way that you're trying to either get over, persevere through, or just get all wrapped up so that this joy can hit full stream here. So it is very good vibe stuff. And it still kind of comes with the connotation that you are trying to get something still done here and get it worked out so that it's just joy expressed more fully. So let's talk about the pings that came up here for quadrant 1. One of the ones that came up as very prevalent is the financial, asking when the 2 best quadrants for finances are going to be. One of them is going to be in 1. They talk about money being moved, money action being moved. Now, I don't know I forget what your general reading was because I do so many of these, but if your general reading, for example, said, no money action in January, keep in mind this quadrants video is for February and March also. So it's not saying that the other video is wrong. It's just saying that here we have a wider scope of 3 months. So we have money action. So what is money action? Also different for different people. It may mean something different for you than it does your Sagittarius neighbor. But at the end of the day, money being moved more than usual or being spent on this, used toward this, that's money action to me in a loose sense of the term. So they have money action coming in very good, and that's a green light there for quadrant 1. The next thing we have here as a marker here is vacation and relaxation. Coming up in quadrant 1, we have with family and friends. So that kind of leads me to, the implication is there, kind of backburnered, that if you're planning to do something like a vacation by yourself, or if you're going to go travel by yourself later in the year, or do something like that, that's not now. This is the time right now to see family and friends. Well, I guess if you're traveling alone to end up with your family and friends, that's different. But that's what they brought up. They brought up vacation, relaxation with family and friends. Quadrant 1, guys. And then to wrap up quadrant 1, because they were much less chatty in quadrant 1 and 2 than 3 and 4, you guys are going to have a busy end of the year, let me just tell you. So we end with, when is the best quadrant to be safe and conservative? Well, one of them is quadrant 1, guys. This is about fates and destiny. So that lets me know that a lot of you are being safe and conservative these first 3 months of the year by necessity, by circumstance, by situation. Maybe life's just thrown some bones at you, and this is the time where you have to be safe and conservative. It's not really a time for risks, except for what they told you here with the money and the financial action. So that is not the area that I think they're talking about being safe and conservative with. I think it's probably other areas, maybe love corner stuff, health corner stuff, maybe a little bit with work. So it is time to play it safe and conservative in the other areas of your life. So that wraps up quadrant 1, guys. Very good. Let's move into quadrant 2, April, May, and June. First ping we get here is, well, before I talk about the pings, let's talk about the general theme for the quadrant 2, mental action. This is a big mental deal here. Up here in your mind, mental health, mental decision-making process, mentally being very sharp with your action that you're taking, basically decisions being made, and all that kind of stuff for quadrant 2. Now, spring kind of presents this opportunity here where they talk about it more than once, because the first ping that we get is in the work corner. Work corner is a big place too. It's your work, business, enterprise, area of study, collegiate courses, retirement if you're of that age, also hobbies, learning anything new, all that falls into work corner stuff. So what they talk about here is more freedom going on, less constraint. You guys are having the freedom to move around with work, whether it's you just having more freedom at your current job, or you being free to leave to find something better perhaps, or to work for yourself, or do something like that. So more freedom in the broader sense of the term. This is a good thing, guys. More freedom is good. Most people handle freedom very well. Some people don't, and they like to be told what to do, but they're a small minority of the audience. So really kind of freedom of the work corner, but also freedom of the mind. It is a mental deal again. So the last thing that we talk about in quadrant 2, because they did keep it short and sweet, are this is a time here for a couple specific risks, because I asked about when is the best time to take risks in Sagittarius to really go for it. They talked about something specific here in either health or finances. This is the time for risks for something of those two. One that has been the most neglected, more than likely. So different things for different people. It's probably a split audience where half of you, this is about money stuff. The other half of you, this is about health stuff. So something there needs to be the focus there in quadrant 2. Whatever has been neglected or needs the energy, they're saying here, this is the time to take risks with this one thing. Okay, so that wraps up quadrant 2, guys. Very good. As we move into quadrant number 3, the main theme of the whole thing is work nurturing. Big work deal here in quadrant 3. You guys are really putting a lot of energy into the work corner in the month of July, August, and September. Well, the first ping that we get in work, actually, is learning your lessons and moving forward with this. This is the work that you've put in, the knowledge you've accumulated, the wisdom that you've gained, the experience you've gained, all this kind of stuff being used to move forward and to further perpetuate your work environment, your work corner. Very good. Next thing we have here, we got our first ping for love. When is the best quadrant here for love? Sagittarius, quadrant 3 is a ping. We have go after on the offensive. Okay, so you have to understand that this is you going after something and not letting somebody else go after you. Okay, understanding the energy of what I mean by offensive is key to understanding what they're trying to tell you here for love. Now, let's say you are not seeking out new love. Let's say you are coupled up or married, Sagittarius, and everything is great. Well, you could still go after love corner stuff. This could be, going to see family members you haven't seen in a while. This could be just expanding, moving steps, furthering your relationship in a positive way. But this, if that's the case, it has to be you. Okay, you have to be the driver here. So you are going on the offensive to kind of improve this corner of your life. We have another ping here on health. This is the first time health pinged directly, and it says they're calling for a mental authority here in health in quadrant 3. So July, August, and September, they really want you to make up your mind, and I think it's more than make up your mind, because I feel like a lot of you have kind of already done this, maybe even earlier in the year, made up your decision. For example, like, you know what, I'm just going to stop eating carbs for, until I get back into my current weight, my weight that I need to get to. So here, this is the authority. This is like where you really need to put your foot down and be firm and see it through and get these goals that you set for yourself, not kind of give up on yourself or whatever you're doing. So being mentally fully authoritative with health in quadrant 3. We also talk about busy and productive. This is the first ping we have for being busy and productive for my Sagittarius is here, coming up in quadrant 3. They bring in new horizons. There's you guys can get busy on a lot of new opportunities going on here. They do talk about skeletons in the closet being removed, so a lot of you are doing purging type stuff also in quadrant 3. That's very good. And the direction is forward. We're purging so that we can get rid of the past, move into the future. It's very good for being busy and productive. Vacation, we got our second pin on vacation here in quadrant 3, and this is manifesting magic, guys. This is like your dream vacation. This is something that like maybe you've always wanted to go, whether it's far away like Egypt or Japan or Canada or anywhere exotic, or it doesn't matter what this is. This is something that you've really wanted to do, and they say it's time to do it. Okay, for some of you, this isn't far at all. I know I gave you big examples, but for some of you, this could be in the state that you live in. Maybe you've always wanted to do this, go visit this one city, but you've never got the opportunity to. Manifesting magic in quadrant 3, guys, and they say it's time to go. It's time to do it. Time to do it. Do not wait. July, August, and September. Maybe for some of you with kids, this would be more July, early August stuff before the kids go back to school. If you don't have kids, it could be any time in there. Let's move into the next part here, taking risks. We got a ping for taking risks and being safe and conservative, so they kind of give you both here. So let's do the risks first. The risks are with finances here. They say it's actually a good time to take financial risks, but you're taking risks towards something that is conservative, which is an interesting way to put it, but it makes me feel like, you're dumping a whole bunch of money into like a 401k, or you're signing up, you're moving money into like a Roth, or you're moving money you're starting a savings account. So you're doing something that is a long-term conservative thing, but you're taking the risk by moving a lot of money or assets into it first. So that's the risk and going for it for quadrant 3. Quadrant 3 also talks about being safe and conservative with the love corner. Now, if you remember, the first thing I talked about was going after something in the love corner, going very offensive after it to fix something. But here, they say there's something in there also that you have to just kind of like hold your tongue with, maybe, or approach in a different situation. It makes me feel like, let's say you have two sons and they both have very different personalities. Let's say they're struggling with their grades. For one of them, you can be very harsh and very lay down the law and be like, hey, you need to get this done, do, or you're going to have these punishments, do. And the other son here is maybe more special needs, or maybe he has just a personality where he doesn't respond very well to being direct and kind of a little bit threatening. Maybe you have to kind of weave the web a little differently with that one. And that's what this makes me feel like here. Different strokes for different folks, where some people you can be very direct and honest with them. Other people you got to be a little bit more tender and gentle with. That's what they show here for safe and conservative. So it's a love corner thing. It's somebody close to your heart that they're talking about being safe and conservative with in quadrant 3. And that pretty much wraps up Quadrant 3. Let's get into 4, guys. Quadrant 4, October, November, and December, they talk about the big theme is making things right. Okay, doing things the right way, no cheating, cutting corners, also taking care of your people. But another theme here is removing the toxicity from your life. And I think a lot of you have already started that in Quadrant 3. But we have the big push for it in Quadrant 4. This is when the stuff's got to be out. And anything in your life that you don't want there, that's got to go. Quadrant 4 is the time and the deadline. So pretty much you got the whole year to work on this stuff with. And it shows a lot of you taking it seriously in 3 and then removing it for good in Quadrant 4. They show chop wood, which means basically get to work on this. Especially Quadrant 4. When you guys arrive in Quadrant 4 and there are still things in your life that you don't want there, this is the time you got to address it. You got to get it done right here, right now. These are your months. We have a love ping here for Quadrant 4. And they talk about your energy not getting scattered. You really need to hone your energy into the love corner. One definition of this is, let's say you're single, you're on a dating website, and you match with like 300 people. Very easy to do, especially if you're a female. They don't want you getting scattered with your energy here. So they really don't want you dealing with 300 people. They want you dealing with maybe 3. Get it down to like a number here that you can handle. Really kind of figure out these people, what they're all about. Figure out if there's any red flags. Figure out all the good stuff too, what they're all about, and how your energies kind of mix. So don't get too scattered. Of course, that's one definition. Let's say you're coupled up and you're married. Okay, here you don't want to get too scattered with dealing with different family dynamics. You really want to focus on the family here in Quadrant 4, guys. So the definition just adapts. It's basically the same energy that we're describing. We have another ping here for Quadrant 4 for finances. So we got welcome. Warm and fuzzy finances coming in Quadrant 4. Everybody knows what that warm and fuzzy energy is. It's just good financial environment, good financial situations for my Saggies in 4. Very nice. For health, we have love overflow. That's why I said love. We have love overflow for health. So health, I'm assuming from Quadrant 3, taking the mental authority, deciding something, sticking with something. Here we have the results, guys, so stick with your health stuff. The entire year, Quadrant 4 is when it's going to pay off. This is your rewards. These are your dividends. Love overflowing everywhere. It's like this is finally you're starting to see those muscles pop through. Finally, you're starting to get your weight gains and whatever else you're trying to do. Or your weight losses, I guess, for most people. The last thing we talk about here in Quadrant 4 is busy and productive. We have a ping for busy and productive in Quadrant 4, and they're kind of being very elusive too. This is a very intriguing one. Basically, they're saying there's hidden knowledge here that you're not aware of right now. But by Quadrant 4, you're going to have a better idea what this is about, and it represents changes. So that's why they're saying in Quadrant 4, you are going to get very busy. Whether you know it right now or not, it is on the way and it is coming, guys. So that wraps up your quadrants, all 4 of them, guys, for the year. So you can see how this is used to outline your year, how it's good for planning and preparation, how you can align certain things in your life to it. And if this is something that interests you, for January only, I'm doing a quadrants personal audio reading. It does the same exact setup, except it's all about you. There is no bubble Sagittarius energy that we're reading for here. It is all personalized directly to you. Available January only on the website, scottsagent.com. It's going to wrap me up here, guys. I hope you have a wonderful year in 2023. I'll talk to you soon.